Spending $100 on a night out or splurging on that latest smartphone upgrade might seem harmless. But did you know these small decisions could be the very reason you're not getting rich? Every day, millions of people fall into financial traps that not only drain their current savings, but also jeopardize their future wealth. Yes, I'm talking about those invisible money pits that slowly, but surely, keep you from achieving financial freedom. And what if I told you that many of us don't even realize we're making these mistakes until it's too late? Today, we're going to uncover the hidden traps that are keeping you poor, and I'll show you how to sidestep them and start your journey towards becoming truly rich. Stick around, because what you learn today could change everything about tomorrow. Did you know that the average American has about $90,000 in debt? And that's not just mortgages, but includes car loans, credit cards, and student loans. Now imagine what you could do if you were free from this financial burden. Today we're diving deep into the traps that keep you poor and how you can escape them to build wealth. I've been right where you might be today, making decisions that felt good in the moment but were disastrous for my financial future. I remember when I used to splurge on the latest gadgets and eat out every other night without thinking about my bank account. It was fun until it wasn't. This isn't just about cutting out coffee or skipping a vacation. It's about fundamental changes that lead to massive improvements in your financial health. Whether you're earning a minimum wage or pulling in six figures, avoiding these pitfalls can mean the difference between just getting by and truly getting ahead. And that's why we're here today. We'll explore the most common financial pitfalls and, more importantly, practical strategies to avoid them. From overspending and high-interest debt to ignoring the need for an emergency fund, we'll cover all the bases to help you start building real wealth. So, are you ready to change your financial future? Let's get started. Point 1. Overspending. Let's dive into our first financial pitfall: overspending. It's a trap that's easy to fall into but hard to escape. Overspending might not seem like a big deal when it's just a few dollars here and there, but over time it can prevent you from reaching your financial goals. To understand just how damaging this can be, let's look at the story of Sarah, a graphic designer from Chicago. Sarah earned a good salary and loved to enjoy it. Whether it was the latest iPhone, designer clothes, or nights out at upscale restaurants, Sarah never hesitated to spend. It all seemed manageable until an unexpected medical emergency hit. Suddenly, Sarah found herself needing significant funds for medical bills. But her savings were nearly non-existent, drained by years of unchecked spending. Without a financial cushion, she was forced to rely on high-interest credit cards and loans to cover her costs. Sarah's story isn't unique. Like many, she fell into the overspending trap, thinking she could always make up for it later. Unfortunately, later arrived sooner than she expected, and it wasn't as forgiving as she hoped. By cutting back on non-essential expenses and adhering to a budget, Sarah could have avoided this financial distress. It's about making smarter choices today to secure your tomorrow. Remember, every dollar you save is a dollar that could be growing towards your future. Now think about your own spending habits. Are there areas where you could cut back? Could these savings help you build a financial safety net? Up next, we'll explore how to break free from the overspending cycle with practical, easy-to-implement strategies. Stay tuned. Point 2. High-interest debt. Next up in our Financial Pitfalls series is a particularly dangerous trap: high-interest debt. This type of debt can be like quicksand for your finances. The more you struggle without a plan, the deeper you sink. High-interest debt often comes from sources like credit cards, payday loans, or other forms of unsecured borrowing. The interest rates on these can be astronomically high, sometimes soaring into the double digits. Meet Tom. Tom is a freelance web developer who enjoys his flexible lifestyle. Unfortunately, Tom didn't always manage his income flow well. During slower months, instead of cutting back on spending, he relied on his credit cards to cover the gap. Without realizing it, Tom racked up thousands in debt. And with interest rates of 20% or more, his balance grew faster than he could pay it down. The minimum payments barely covered the interest, and his principal amount seemed to stand still. Tom's situation isn't uncommon. High interest rates can keep you paying for years, and much of your money goes to the lender, not towards clearing your debt. If you're dealing with high-interest debt, the first step is to stop adding more to it. Next, focus on paying off the debts with the highest interest rates first. This method is often called the avalanche method. Tom took control of his finances by prioritizing his debts and also negotiating lower interest rates with his creditors. It wasn't easy, but by sticking to a plan, he eventually climbed out of debt. Remember, every dollar you pay above the minimum impacts your balance more than you think. Don't let high-interest debt derail your financial future. Start your plan today and keep pushing until you're free from those high rates. Stick around, as next, we'll talk about why an emergency fund is not just a good idea, but a crucial buffer against financial pitfalls. Point 3. Emergency fund neglect. One of the most critical defenses against financial ruin is something many of us overlook: an emergency fund. It's your financial lifeline during unexpected events. An emergency fund can be the difference between a temporary hiccup and a lasting financial crisis. Ideally, this fund should cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses, but even starting small can be beneficial. Meet Linda, a school teacher and single mother of 2. Linda always managed to get by month to month, prioritizing her children's needs and small pleasures over setting aside savings. Then, unexpectedly, Linda's car needed major repairs, and almost simultaneously, she faced a medical bill from an emergency room visit. With no emergency fund, these simultaneous financial shocks were more than her budget could handle. Linda found herself making tough choices: either ignore necessary expenses, like fixing her car, or turn to high-interest credit options, which could spiral into deeper debt. An emergency fund isn't just a pool of money, it's peace of mind. It's what keeps you afloat when the unexpected hits. Linda learned this the hard way and decided it was time to start small. By setting aside a little from each paycheck, Linda began to build her emergency fund. It wasn't immediate, but over time, she developed a financial buffer that could protect her and her family from future shocks. If you haven't started an emergency fund yet, let Linda's story be your call to action. Begin today, even if it's with a small amount. Regular, consistent savings add up, and this fund will one day stand between you and financial distress. Coming up, we'll explore how poor investment choices can impair your financial growth. Don't go away. Point 4. Poor investment choices. Another major financial pitfall that can keep you from growing your wealth is making poor investment choices. Whether it's jumping into investments without proper research, following hot tips, or putting all your eggs in one basket, these mistakes can be costly. To see just how impactful these decisions can be, let's look at the story of Mike, a software developer with a keen interest in the stock market. Mike thought he found a shortcut to wealth. Influenced by soaring tech stock stories, he invested a large portion of his savings into what he believed was a sure thing. He ignored the fundamental rule of diversification. Unfortunately, the tech sector was hit hard by a sudden downturn. Mike watched as his investment dwindled, erasing years of hard-earned savings in just a few months. Mike's mistake was not uncommon. Many investors get caught up in the excitement of potential gains without considering the risk. Diversification isn't just a buzzword, it's a protection strategy. It means spreading your investments across various sectors and asset types to mitigate risk. If you're new to investing or looking to understand better where to put your money, consider consulting with a financial advisor. They can help you build a portfolio that reflects your long-term goals and risk tolerance. Mike learned from his experience. He's now more cautious and consults with his advisor regularly. By diversifying his investments, he not only protects against significant losses, but also positions himself for more stable, consistent growth. Remember, investing isn't about making quick money. It's about making smart, well-informed decisions that will compound over time. Don't let poor choices be the barrier to your financial success. Stay tuned, as next, we'll discuss the critical mistake of failing to plan for the future and how you can avoid it. Point 5. Failing to plan for the future. Our final financial pitfall to avoid is perhaps the most critical: failing to plan for the future. This isn't just about retirement, it's about preparing for all your long-term financial goals, whether that's buying a home, funding your children's education, or ensuring a comfortable retirement. Without a clear plan, you're navigating without a map, and it's easy to stray off course. Let's look at Ellen's story to see just how significant this can be. Ellen enjoyed her lifestyle and assumed she'd deal with the future later. She spent as she wished, putting nothing aside for the long haul. Retirement seemed too far off to worry about, and she had no concrete financial goals. As years passed, Ellen realized she was far behind her peers in financial preparedness. She hadn't invested in her pension, saved for emergencies, or thought about her children's college funds. Suddenly, the future wasn't so distant, and her lack of planning had become a real problem. Ellen's story teaches us a vital lesson. The sooner you start planning, the better. Thanks to the power of compound interest, even small amounts saved early can grow into significant sums over time. But it's not just about saving, it's about setting clear goals and making informed decisions to reach them. Planning for the future means taking control of your finances today. Start by defining your financial goals. Then, break these down into actionable steps, like setting up automatic savings for retirement or investing in a diversified portfolio. Ellen took action to change her financial destiny. With professional guidance, she's now on a path not just to catch up, but to thrive. And it's never too late or too early to start on this path. Don't let the future catch you by surprise. Begin planning today and build the future you envision for yourself and your loved ones. As we wrap up our journey through the financial pitfalls that can keep us from achieving wealth, let's quickly recap the key points we've covered today. First, we tackled overspending. Remember, it's not about cutting out all joy. It's about spending wisely to save for your future. Then we discussed the dangers of high-interest debt, a trap that can cost you dearly over time. We saw how an emergency fund can be a lifeline in crisis situations, protecting you from unexpected financial shocks. We also explored poor investment choices and learned the importance of diversification and informed decision-making. Finally, we talked about the critical necessity of planning for the future, setting goals today to secure a brighter tomorrow. Now it's up to you. These aren't just lessons to be heard, but to be implemented. Start today, even if it's small steps, and gradually build on them. Remember, avoiding these traps isn't just about avoiding loss, it's about paving the way to financial freedom and success. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more insights and tips. Share this video with friends and family who might benefit from these strategies. We're in this together, learning and growing our financial literacy. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you. What financial pitfalls have you encountered or fear the most? Drop a comment below, share your experiences, and let's discuss how we can all avoid these common traps. Thank you for watching, and remember, your financial journey is unique, but the principles to success are universal. Stay informed, stay motivated, and take control. Until next time, keep building your wealth and your future.